Hello everyone, back tuning in to today's video. We're going to have a look at when it's weekend days. In today's video, it's going to take us into the second half of August. We're going to around the 21st of the month. And I think we're going to be seeing some hotter weather to start next week, but after that it's going to break down quite quickly. And then it looks like it's going to turn cooler the second half of next week and into the following weekend. And quite what's happening in terms of the weather with that period, it's a bit uncertain. We might build up a bit of a ridge into the south again. Or it might turn quite unsettled. The models aren't really sure what happens beyond the breakdown of the hot weather that's coming up on Monday and Tuesday. I'll show you the detail in a second. Before you get on with that, just say about the ads. There's links right across all the pages. You can have a browse widgets and click through the links. If there's any articles that you're interested in, you'll be helping us to pay for our website. Thanks so much for doing that. There's video ads on most pages, which own that content when you watch the close back up again. And it does help to pay for gas.com. We'll start off with the 500 millibar height anomalies for the next week to 10 days. So this takes us to the 21st of August, in towards the late summer period. Blue with these charts is extrapolating to low pressure, and red to high pressure. So the ECWF, which is on the top, the GFS, which I'll look at in a moment, is on the bottom. The ECWF shows that we've got a trough of low pressure generally through the UK and extending out into the Atlantic as well. Quite tight lines come across the Atlantic. That's the jet stream. It looks like that's picking up a bit next week. So it does look more changeable into the second half of next week, but not into that third weekend of August. Looks more unsettled. Not necessarily a washout, but it certainly looks more unsettled. By the way, notice this very deep blue area over top of the North Pole. That is the start of winter. That's the start of the polar vortex gathering strength and energy over top of the pole. The Arctic winter is already, although it's only into the middle part of August with this chart, the Arctic winter is already beginning to get going. And of course, this blue area is below average heights. It's low pressure, which is cold temperatures. Eventually that will expand out across the whole of the northern hemisphere, of course. In terms of the Northern Hemisphere winter, we will still get high pressure in some parts of the Northern Hemisphere. But essentially, that is the beginnings of winter of 2016-2017 begin to get going over top of the North Pole. The GFS has that as well. There's that very deep blue area over top of the pole. For us, though, of next week to 10 days, low pressure in the Atlantic. Not quite as deep as on the ECWF, but nevertheless, it still looks quite changeable, I think, really, with the jet stream coming through the country. Got some ridging up to the northeast as well, but I think it's the Atlantic, but it looks like it's going to be coming back a bit later on next week and into that third weekend of the month. We might manage to build a bit of a ridge into the south, but I think overall we're going to a more westerly changeable type situation for the second half of August. This is the upper air temperature chart for the Northern Hemisphere. This is for a week's time, Thursday, 18th of August, just before I throw this in. So there's that puddle of cold air that's sitting over top of the North Pole. -10 isotherm is there, indicated by those blue colours. That is, as I say, the start of the polar vortex beginning to get going. Start of the Arctic winter setting in over the North Pole. Generally, the Northern Hemisphere, though, sitting in a very hot state, of course. Summer still continues. The upper air temperatures looking like this next couple of weeks. These are the GFS ensembles, of course. Red line here is 30-year temperature average. So we're going above average now. We had some rain overnight. That's the start of a warm front, bringing warmer air across the country. And generally, we're going to see those temperatures lifting up. It's particularly early next week, but we go very warm, if not hot, just briefly. Down in the south and southeast, I think we'll see temperatures going to 30 degrees, maybe a little bit higher across the southeast parts of the country on Thursday afternoon. But after that, it's downhill all the way. There was a suggestion a few days ago that this could be quite a prolonged hot spell. Now that idea has gone away. It's just a brief surge of heat on Tuesday, and then rapidly it turns cooler again through the middle part of next week into the last stage of next week, then on into that third week of August, into the latter stages of August, really. Looks like the temperatures are going to be about average. This might be our last hot spell of the summer. You never can tell. We might get hot again at the end of August, even into September. We might get a real burst of heat. Early September can get very hot. So it could be this is the final sort of burst of heat, or we might have more. You never know with the UK weather. But if you like heat, of course, further on into August you have to make the most of any hot weather that you get, because you never know if that's the end of it for that particular year. So if you like hot weather, make the most of Tuesday, I think, is the message. In terms of precipitation, a lot of dry weather coming up the rest of this week and into the weekend. I have had some rain in the east associated with that rainfall spike, but I think that's on its way out now. Next week, this area of precipitation just here is associated with the cool down, but occurs on Wednesday. That could be thundery stuff. And then beyond that, it does look a little bit more unsettled, I think, generally. I wouldn't say it's a washout by any means, but certainly a little bit more unsettled there compared to what we've had for the past few weeks across southern parts of the country. Temperature anomalies from the 11th through to 19th of August, generally coming out warmer than average. You'd expect that to be a pretty warm start to next week. But it's probably cool as we go into next week. The precipitation anomaly from the 11th to 19th of August, it's a bit wetter than average for the far north of Scotland, generally average to drier than average elsewhere. I would expect these to trend a bit wetter over the next few days. So the GFS then for Monday, high pressure is reaching through the country. It's going to be a nice day, temperatures up to the mid to upper 20s Celsius. That high pressure is still there on Tuesday. It's drifting to the east, allowing the winds to go into the south. That's starting to put hot air up out of France. So temperatures could well peak on Tuesday at around 30 degrees, 86 Fahrenheit, somewhere like London. By the end of Tuesday, though, it's already starting to turn unstable in the west, with the risk of showers or thunderstorms or maybe longer spells of rain starting to come in off the Atlantic, moving into that hot southerly flow. These are the upper air temperatures for Tuesday. Now, a couple of days ago, the 20 Celsius ice firm was being forecast by the GFS model to get as far north as Newcastle, which would be very extreme weather. I said that was highly unlikely when I did a blog post about it, and I said expect a downgrade. We have had the downgrade. The 20 Celsius ice firm now is being restricted to central France. Nevertheless, a very warm day coming up on Tuesday, if not hot, with the 15 Celsius ice firm getting up as far as southern Scotland. So it is going to be a really warm day on Tuesday, especially in the south. Temperatures easily reach the upper 20 Celsius. I think some places could reach 30 degrees. By the end of Tuesday, we've got heavy rain coming into Ireland and western fringes, maybe thunderstorms breaking out across northwest England and North Wales, and the temperatures being signalled by the GFS model to reach 27, 28 degrees up the maximum on Tuesday. You can normally increase that by a couple of degrees, 2 or 3 degrees, so that would take maximums probably to around 29 to 31. 31 is 88 Fahrenheit. So it is going to be a hot day in the south on Tuesday, most definitely. But then showers and storms break out quite widely on Tuesday evening. This is midnight on Wednesday. Precipitation forecast by the GFS model showing quite a bit of rain across the country then. Very wet weather through the Irish Sea, and the risk of thunderstorms breaking out further east. There is convective potential there. The Cape and lifted chart showing green colour, so there is risk of lightning and thunder on Tuesday night as well. And as we go through into Wednesday, this trough is extending further eastwards across the country, moving that risk of showers or thunderstorms through to the north and the east during the course of the morning on Wednesday, and introducing cooler, fresh air. These are the upper air temperatures starting to show, or showing that we're bringing cooler air in off the Atlantic, moving in from the west. By the end of Wednesday, midnight Thursday, you see we're all within a much cooler, fresher air mass. It may take a little while for the east to cool down. You might get another pretty not hot day in the east on Wednesday, but it could be very warm and sultry. Eventually that cooler, fresher air will start to move in. And there's low pressure still around the country at midnight on Thursday as well. So Wednesday into Thursday, like to be quite unsettled with showers, maybe thunderstorms as well across the country. That low pressure to go beyond that into Friday, moves out in towards Germany, leaves us in a much cooler sort of northerly, northwesterly type flow. There's going to be that third weekend, is the weekend of the 20th, 21st of August. The idea is generally to build a little bit of a ridge out to the west, but the east is still close to the trough, so you could have showers in the east, mainly dry weather in the west. The wind flow with that is generally coming in from a northerly, northeasterly direction, so it's likely to be quite a bit cooler. But I'm not sure the models really have that period for the end of next week and then that third weekend of August. I'm not sure models have really got that pinned down yet. East of the Earth is very similar. There's the ridge across the country on Monday. That clears away, or moves away to the east on Tuesday, bringing up this hot southerly flow. Low pressure starts pushing off the Atlantic, leads to a thundery breakdown by the time we go through into midnight on Wednesday. We're probably seeing showers or thunderstorms extending east across the country. Low pressure is right over top of the country by midnight on Thursday, so that looks really quite unsettled indeed, with cooler air starting to push back in off the Atlantic Ocean. Friday next week leads us into a northwesterly flow. That's going to be cool with showers in the north and west, and then we go up to day 10, and again, not sure the model really has this pinned down, but this time we start to see high pressure ridging through to the south with low pressure out to the west, so that low pressure probably going to roll in a day or two after that. But it does bring some drier conditions back into the south for that third weekend of August. And then finally the GEM, high pressure through the country on Monday. It slips to the east on Tuesday, drawing up a hot southerly wind. Low pressure developing out to the west. That low pressure becomes thundery as we go through into the end of Tuesday and on into Wednesday. Pushes northwards and eastwards, ending really quite quickly any hot push of air, and then we go through to the end of next week. This is Friday 19th, with a showery west-northwesterly flow. Try to build a little bit of a ridge on Saturday the 20th, but by day 10, Sunday 21st of August, that's actually bringing another area of low pressure into the south. That's bringing very wet weather into the south, and probably not have strong winds as well. I don't think the models have got that weekend of the 20th, 21st of August pinned down yet. Quite what happens beyond the hot push and the thundery breakdown, I think, is a little bit uncertain. So what we're looking at over the next few days is an increasingly drying and warming trend through the weekend and inside of next week. Tuesday will be the peak, going to turn hot in the south, temperature probably around 30 degrees. Thundery breakdown late Tuesday into Wednesday, very classic UK summer weather, a couple of hot days and a thunderstorm, and then beyond that, not sure the models really have that period pinned down, sort of the end of next week and into the third weekend of August. We'll wait and see on that one. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.